So we got to talk about COVID, and I do want to talk about this. When I read these quotes, I thought that it was The Onion. I thought it was, and I was shocked at what I read. The president, the Fraternal Order of Police president in Chicago, John Cantanazara, could be saying that wrong. He is refusing. He is standing by that Chicago police officers should not get the coronavirus vaccine. And he compared it to Nazi Germany. He said this, quote, this is the president of the Fraternal Order of Police in Chicago. He said, quote, we're in America, God damn it. We don't want to be forced to do anything, period. This ain't Nazi fucking Germany, where they say step into the fucking showers. The pills won't hurt you. What the fuck? He said, you're not going to pay me. You're going to make me stay home, but you're going to have thousands of coppers willing to stay home, not getting paid to not get a vaccine. And then what are you going to do for manpower on the streets? So the coronavirus is killing police officers at a rapid rate, at a rapid rate. I want to play a clip. This is not a police officer in Chicago, but this is a police officer in Austin, Texas. Randolph Boyd happens to be a black police officer. He died after battling the coronavirus for several days. Listen to this sad story.
August 25th, 2021, the end of watch for APD senior police officer Randy Boyd, a husband, a father of twin boys, and a dedicated officer battling COVID-19 until it took his life.
He always had a huge smile on his face and just loved people and was just a very friendly person.
Austin Police Association President Ken Cassidy worked with Officer Boyd at one point during his 7-year run with the department. He says the sting of his death is being felt by the entire APD family.
They just become so choked up they can't talk about it.
Interim Chief Joseph Chacon tweeting, Randy was a great officer who gave everything he had for a life of service. Cassidy doesn't know if Officer Boyd was vaccinated, but says it's believed he got the virus on the job.
If officers have been at work and they come down with a fever and they test positive for COVID, by state law and city policy, that is considered in line of duty. Workers' comp takes over and he will receive benefits from the city.
First of all, how do you not know who is vaccinated or not? I mean, I know folks who work for the airlines and they know if you're vaccinated. Or how do you not? Normally, when in these stories, when you hear we don't know if they were vaccinated, that normally means they weren't vaccinated, allegedly, right. Reportedly, according to me. Another sad story of an officer in Louisiana, DeMarcus Dunn, Lieutenant Dunn. He died after 3 days of COVID-19 before his wedding in Louisiana. So to hear the president of the police union in the Fraternal Order of Police president in Chicago, comparing it to going into the showers in Nazi Germany. This is just so disgusting. And part of the reason, while I still ain't on the Chicago police train when it comes to Jussie Smollett, hold it to a different story, but just at me if you want. But nonetheless, this is insane to me. And I'm not a big fan of Mayor Lori Lightfoot, but I heard her on MSNBC today just slamming this. I mean, this is not helpful. And let's be clear, we have so many officers who over police, especially in Chicago, black neighborhoods. So these police officers, if you're unvaccinated, you're in these neighborhoods, you're pulling over us disproportionately. How many lives are you putting in danger? How many people are you putting in danger if you're pulling over, I don't know, a 19-year-old black teenager in Chicago and you're not vaccinated? This is insane to me. You're protecting and serving, and you're putting more people's lives at risk. It's hard. You're literally with people who might be having a mental health issue. They don't have on a mask. This is crazy to me. Reese, your thoughts?
Oh, it's a mess. I used to live in Chicago.
Okay.
Oh,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I lived in Chicago for 5 years. So I'm very familiar with the Chicago Police Department. And yes, they absolutely do over police Black communities. I mean, this is the same police department that had like Black sites where they were illegally taking people and torturing them and violating all their civil rights. I mean, come on, knock it the hell off. It's freaking ridiculous to try to compare this to Nazi Germany. Cops do a lot of forcing people to do stuff against their own will. So it's very hypocritical for them to say that kind of mess. But it's for their own protection, so that you don't die, so that you don't end up on a ventilator, so that you don't end up making your children orphans. I read a statistic that 120,000 children are now orphans as a result of this coronavirus pandemic. And so you shouldn't have to force people to do what's in their own best interest. And it's also in the interest of public safety. That's why it's called public health, not individual health. Okay. So it's really selfish. It's disgusting. It's radical. It's just like, it's radical. And I don't mean in a good way. I mean, in a really absurd way. And I just wanted to comment on DeMarcus. I forget his last name. I'm sorry. You just
DeMarcus Dunn.
DeMarcus Dunn, yes, that officer. First of all, my condolences go out to his family.
Absolutely.
He was unvaccinated, and read in the Daily Mail that he was just in Jamaica prior to getting sick. They're not sure if that's how he got coronavirus, but he was in Jamaica. He wasn't wearing a mask. He was out and about. And I know a lot. Listen, I have family members that have gone to Jamaica recently. They're vaccinated, but Jamaica, I just want your listeners to know that Jamaica has 5% vaccination amongst their population. Okay, 5%. And you guys see what we're dealing with here, having 50% of our population vaccinated. And imagine how many people are going into a population that has a low vaccination rate, and a lot of people who are not vaccinated. Now, you do need a negative COVID test to enter the country of Jamaica, which is stuff to keep in mind. And about the other officer, he died within days. This is why when people want to tout these miracle cures like Regeneron and things like that, you have to get those almost immediately, because if you're sick enough to be on a ventilator, it's too late for you to get those drugs. And so vaccinations are your biggest protection to keep you out of the hospital and to keep you alive. And so if it's not just for you, think about your family. If these people are leaving behind 3-4 kids, they're leaving behind spouses. Now you have to have your family take up the burden of that. And all you have to do is get the vaccine. There have been 5 billion doses administered worldwide. There are almost 2 billion people that are fully vaccinated worldwide. There is not a global sinister plot to poison people with the vaccine. It's not poisoning you. It's not putting you in a gas chamber like Nazi Germany. It's saying do what will keep you out of the hospital, because there are people who have cancer that need to go to the hospital, people who have heart attacks, there are people who are in car accidents, and they can't get into the damn hospital because it's full of unvaccinated motherfuckers. So take the vaccine, if for no other reason, because your stupid ass doesn't need to end up in the hospital. And when they start rationing out care, I've said it before, the vaccine is the most race neutral, most socioeconomic neutral prescription there is for COVID. Okay, it's readily available, it's free, you can get it practically on any corner. When it comes time for ventilators and ICU beds and Regeneron, you are not going to be at the top of the list. I can almost guarantee you. You're not Greg Abbott, you're not Donald Trump. Okay, so keep it in mind and just do the stuff up front. And you can still take your CMOS, you can still take your vitamin D. If that's so effective against goddamn coronavirus, then it should be effective against the vaccine.
Wait. Before we go to David, Reese, can you just briefly, you did a really great video where you talked about some black folks thinking it's a conspiracy to kill off black people, but you were explaining how the vaccine has been so effective in China. It was really, can you just briefly say what you were saying in that video? Like, if you think it's going to kill off black folks, then why is the vaccine on and popping in China?
So this whole notion, the Tuskegee experiment, black people have been done wrong. Yes, the Tuskegee experiment was abhorrent. Okay. But my whole point is, if the vaccine is a conspiracy against black people to kill off black people or harm black people in some way, then why the hell is China putting out 2 billion doses of the vaccine? Is it to throw people off the scent? Is it that important? Do you guys think that black people are that important to eradicate from this world that China is willing to sacrifice 1 billion of its own damn citizens just to trick a couple of million black people in America to take the goddamn vaccine? Get fucking real. You're delusional. Yeah. We got diabetes, heart disease, shit, vaccines. I mean, not the vaccine, but the coronavirus is killing us off a lot as it is. What the hell they need a vaccine for? They didn't got to kill 1 billion people in China just to kill a couple million Black people in America. 1 in 520 Black people has already been killed from coronavirus in America, and they ain't had to shed one doggone extra person in China. They got the virus under control in China. So I don't even know why the hell y'all think that Black people are so important to the world that they're going to kill off 1 billion Chinese people, hundreds of millions of people in all these European countries just to kill off a couple of Black people with the vaccine. It's completely absurd. Get real, people. Please get real.
Go on, David.
So look, I'm right there with Reese. I was going to ask for Reese's blessing to drop the first F-bomb of the hour, but do it, Reese. Look, two things. First of all, Reese, I'm glad you made that point you made. It's not my main point, but real quick, I'm glad you made that point, Reese, about police being the people who are most familiar with situations where you're forcing people to do what you don't want to do. You don't like how you're being treated at a doctor office, at the bank, at the post office, by a college professor, you can leave.
Right.
If you don't like how you're being treated by a police officer, you can't walk away.
You better not leave.
You can't walk away. And police know this. They know the power of the state because they exercise the power of a state with a gun on their hip. So this police union guy in Chicago, look, people just want to have something that they can be mad about at this point. I don't want to repeat everything Reese said. I agree with it. Let me just go in a slightly different direction. Like Reese said, 2 billion people worldwide have taken vaccines or are fully vaccinated. Something like 170, 180 million Americans have been fully vaccinated. This is the biggest sample group for a study on the effects and side effects that you've ever had. When drugs get FDA approval, they don't have 180 million cases to study. Okay. I understand when people said it was only authorized for emergency use. Now the FDA has fully approved it for people over 12. There's
16.
16, excuse me. Thank you for correcting me. There's no further authorization or proof that you can get. That doesn't mean nothing will go wrong with a small percentage of people, but it means that there's no more, evidence that is forthcoming about the efficacy of the vaccines. But I will say this to folks. If you still are not satisfied with the government's word, I respect that. If you're not satisfied and you think that this is some kind of conspiracy, I agree with Reese. How you think it's a conspiracy, I don't see how you get there. But if that's what you think, that's fine. But the trade-off to having your own opinion, which everyone is entitled to, is that we all have to live in the world together. And if you work for the Chicago police, you're a civil servant, and the city says you got to get vaccinated, you got to get vaccinated. If you want to go on a flight and they say you have to have a negative COVID test and wear a mask, then you have to do that. They can't force you to have a vaccine or wear a mask, but private companies and governments can say, well, if you don't, then you can't participate. I work in a unionized newsroom. The Washington Post has a unionized newsroom. I'm a member of the Washington Post Guild. It's like a police union. It's a newspaper union. But in my workplace, I'm still working remotely. When we go back, we have to be vaccinated. This isn't rocket science, people. You're entitled to do what you want. You're not entitled to have all the privileges and perks of society if, there's a lawful, mandate by your employer, by a carrier, by a municipality or a state that says to do certain things, you have to be vaccinated. Last point, putting a vaccine in your body is putting a vaccine in your body. The thing I'm tired of, and this is what fucking pisses me off there. I got my F-bomb out. people who don't want to wear a mask. I'm tired of that bullshit.
Like Busta Rhymes?
Yeah, I'm sure you talked about it on the show earlier this week.
I did.
Look, I'm a Busta Rhymes fan, but the things he was saying in that clip were fucking stupid. Okay. What did he say? COVID can suck a dick? So what? Either you're going to...
In that hot-ass Givenchy sweater. Right. In that hot-ass sweater.
Either you're going to address it or you're not. Wearing a piece of paper with 2 rubber bands around your ears, around your mouth, is not a conspiracy or putting something in your body. There's no side effects to that. Again, there's always going to be those couple percent of people that, you know, maybe they need a unobstructed airway, but 90, 95, 99% of people, you can wear a mask over your nose and mouth. Of course, it's not convenient. Of course, it's not fun. We're trying to get out of the goddamn pandemic. If people don't get with it, it's going to drag on and on and on.
And mutate and mutate
Yes.
and mutate and get stronger and stronger and stronger. That's what's really scary. It's going to be, if we don't collectively do this, I said it before, I'll say it again. If folks didn't collectively get a polio vaccine, we would have adults right now walking around with crutches. That's what it will be. Millions and millions of us.
When you send your kids to school, or when you went to school, you had to have your measles and your mumps and your chicken pox.
This is basic common sense.
Shots. This isn't new, people. Vaccines are for your protection. If your doctor tells you you can't take it because of a condition, that's a different story.
I do want to say this. There's a little bit of hope, at least in Black communities. According to NBC, a new poll shows that Black people are leading white Americans by 10 percentage points when asked if they've been vaccinated. The NBC poll shows that 76% of Black folks have said they received the vaccine. 66% of white folks answered that they received the vaccine. So, you know, for all the folks trying to blame us, this is an NBC poll. We're doing a little bit more. David, I know you have to go. Reese, can you stay?
Yes.
I got to ask you this. Now, I talked about it earlier in the week, but I just need you to sound off on this for a minute. Just the amount of ignorance. This is beyond the vaccine. Busta Rhymes, you saw this viral clip. I played it earlier in the week. Let's just play. Keep my mic on. I don't want to hear the whole thing again, but just play a little bit of it, and I'll tell you when to stop. And then I want to talk with Reese about it. Listen to this.
COVID could suck a dick. All these little weird-ass government policies and mandates suck a dick. Stop trying to take our civil liberties away. Feels good to be back outside. We outside for real. It's called the God-given right of freedom, right? No human being is supposed to tell you you can't even breathe freely. Fuck your mask. I'm not saying. Some of y'all might feel differently, but fuck your mask.
Take it down. Reese, I don't know. I don't follow country like that. I don't know if country artists are doing this. I don't know if hard rock artists are doing this. But we keep seeing, I mean, Busta Rhymes, Teddy Riley, like what? And what bothers me, Reese, and I was saying this earlier in the week, is that he's in a predominantly Black audience, again, in that hot ass Givenchy sweater. He's sweating, droplets flying out of his mouth, and he's saying, F your mask. He's from New York, mind you, Trevor, from New York. He's saying this. New York at one point was the epicenter of the coronavirus. What the hell is going on with these legends in our community, celebrities,
yeah,
but hip hop, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we're trying to fight misinformation. Why even say anything at all? And then to add this to it and the crowd is egging him on and he's loving it. This is dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. And it really bothers me. I know you blasted Teddy Riley for putting out weird vaccine conspiracy information, but what are your thoughts when you hear someone like Busta saying this?
You know what? I did a video last week because Tank had done this anti-vaxxer crap too. And you know, like you said, people egged them on. And my video was, don't let your amen corner turn into thoughts and prayers corner. Because a lot of these people that are egging on this anti-vax and stuff, something happened to you, all they got is, oh, thoughts and prayers, oh, whatever. So, you know, don't let people gas you up to do all this shit, because this is really getting crazy. And you know, with Busta Rhymes, because I could have sworn I heard something about Busta Rhymes and some kind of health, so I Googled it. He had polyps in his throat that blocked his breathing by 90%. He was found unconscious before a show. He had to have surgery to remove it. So that's a respiratory issue. And coronavirus attacks your respiratory system. So I would think Busta Rhymes with your 90% non-breathing ass that you would want to make sure you don't get coronavirus. Okay. So it's really crazy. I want to actually do some kind of study. I don't know, I need to get a grant from somebody, get some money to do this, but I want to do a study to see what is really driving all of these rappers and stuff. Now, I noticed the reason why that video went viral is because it was posted by this white woman who's an anti-vaxxer, right-wing anti-vaxxer. And so I always trace where these videos come from, who's posting it. I trace where the reposted videos from these rappers and tanks and all these people are coming from. They're always originating from the right wing. When I guest hosted your show, I did an article about the 4chan disinformation campaign. One of the memes that they created was "we can't breathe." One of the hashtags was hashtag "we can't breathe." And so I'm hearing in Busta Rhymes' speech a lot of these disinformation isn't necessarily just information. Sometimes it's sentiments that they're trying to drive. And so I hear that sentiment about, oh, we can't breathe and don't tread on me. That's actually a Confederate thing. But I'm hearing a lot of these disinformation talking points seeping into what these rappers and entertainers and athletes are sharing. That's why disinformation is so dangerous, because it's not in a meme. It's coming out of his mouth. And I don't even know if he realizes that he's been indoctrinated. And so it's so dangerous, because I try to be careful about calling people stupid, because there are a lot of intelligent people that are buying into this, but it is irrational. It's irrational to not want to wear a mask. It's irrational to believe in conspiracy theories from these crackpots on YouTube and believe that there are 97 countries, for instance, that have approved the Pfizer, whether it's emergency use or full approval. And all of these 97 individual autonomous bodies of government have conspired to trick you in your mama's basement in New Jersey to take the vaccine. It's ridiculous. It's irrational. But I want to understand what is driving it, and how are the 4chans and these disinformation campaigns, how are they so successfully targeting this particular group? Because they're really permeating and perpetuating this campaign. And a lot of people don't recognize what I can hear, because I've seen all of these different campaigns that are working. It's scary. It's scary. I mean, they have a profit motive, obviously, because they want to be out on the road and they want to, make their money. They make their money from touring. But it's the rhetoric that's really, 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 really dangerous and scary. And it bothers me. And unfortunately, I don't wish ill on anybody. Be clear. Even if you're unvaccinated, I don't want nothing bad to happen to you. But I feel like until something happens to one of these really, really loudmouth anti-vaxxers, that people will figure out, oh man, this is getting serious. But these anti-vaxxers, half of them probably vaccinated. Also, they're getting the best medicine. They're not your average Joe Schmo. So they're going to take all these experimental medications, Regeneron, all these monoclonal antibody treatments. The second they get COVID, they are not going to be on I want to see what's FDA approved. So just be careful who you are big up in your amen corner. That's going to be thoughts and prayers. And you ain't going to get much on your GoFundMe if your ass ain't vaccinated.
Look what happened to Herman Cain. Even before the vaccination, he refused to wear that mask. At that Trump rally, he passed away. I mean, listen, this is before the vaccination, and he probably would have been an anti-vaxxer, Herman Cain.
Probably.
Yeah, it's very disturbing.